My paralysis has come about as a result of a motorcycle accident. I was in a collision with a car back in May 20th this year. Don't remember too much about the accident prior to the actual collision, but quite vividly remember the sound of hitting the car, and the next thing just remember being on the floor and quite instantly sort of having the feeling of not feeling my legs, and also remember a couple of sort of people, passers-by, came over and the police coming, but again can't remember too much of any conversations. And then I was airlifted to the RVI hospital in Newcastle nearby, and don't remember anything of that, and then just remember seeing family and friends and loved ones at the hospital.
Initially, obviously, it was not good, as you can imagine. Your brother's been in an accident. The main concern was, first of all, is he alive? And then when we got that news, obviously it was the best news we wished for. And then moving forward, it was to wish for better news. And then the news come that day that Andy his life had changed. And the way that we kind of described it to other people, if Andy's friends and family, was that it's life-changing, not life-ending. And we're very blessed to have Andrew here today.
At the time, I didn't know how serious it was, certainly. Obviously, I appreciate I'd been in an accident and was told that I would need emergency surgery and have 2 metal rods inserted into my spine as a result of 2 fractures. But the sort of any notions of being paralysed weren't sort of told, and it wasn't actually until soon after my operation that I was then informed, according to staff there, that in their opinion, due to the severity of the accident and the results prior, that I would be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. I also then was transferred to James Cook Spinal Rehab Clinic, where I received 10 weeks rehabilitation, sort of aquatherapy, occupational therapy, and due to the fact that I am something called a complete injury, which is regarded as sort of someone with very little chance of recovery instantly, the sort of first phase for someone like my condition is to sort of allow them to become to live in a wheelchair, so to speak. So a lot of the rehab was geared towards me becoming readily sort of be able to live my life in a wheelchair, as opposed to any sort of recovery towards, you know, walking or standing or anything of that nature. So it was very much geared towards living life in a wheelchair. Mentally, I think since day one, I've just thought to myself, there's no point feeling sorry for yourself or crying or getting upset, because at the end of the day, it's not really going to make any difference. It's not really going to get me to where I want to be, which is ultimately back on my feet. So I think very, very early on I thought, you know, there's a window of opportunity for recovery. Don't want to waste any time in terms of sort of feeling sorry for myself, and if anything, just want to make the most of that window of opportunity. So just remain as positive and as determined as possible, which I think has held me in good stead so far. A very, very fast recovery in terms of discharge from hospital, and since then I've also physically been doing a lot of swimming, which has helped develop a core. It's just very much helped my balance, my upper body, and sort of just my general fitness and well-being. But I've also done 6 weeks worth of hyperbaric oxygen chamber treatment, which again has helped considerably. I dislocated my sternum and fractured 4 ribs as a result of the accident, which were still very sore even after discharge, but they, as a result of the oxygen treatment, have completely gone. I feel like I've got a lot more colour in me, and my general well-being is a lot better, and a little bit of a cloud has been removed from over me, and just certainly a lot more energy, and feel a lot more like the old self from Paralysis Above. There was an article in the Daily Mail about a young boy called Connor from Scotland. He was very badly injured in a rugby accident in 2014, and he was flying over to America for some treatment to try and sort of rehabilitate himself, and he had a blog which I then actively followed. As a result of the treatment in America, he heard about the trials that were done at the University of Louisville for epidural stimulation, and as a result of that he then heard about Better Being Hospital, who were then carrying out such treatment, and that he said he was going to go travel to Thailand for the treatment.
I mean, there was a lot of information to take. Obviously, you've got to look at it logically. I mean, Andrew sometimes would come to the family and say he had some movement, and then we would speak to the medical professionals and they would say it was phantom movements, as you can imagine. So from Andrew's perspective, it was a lot of wanting to do it. From our perspective, it was making sure that we were taking the logical steps to make sure that Andrew could get the best treatment, and whatever treatment was available, to inquire about it, and most of all to support him. So when he brought Thailand to everyone's attention, obviously initially it was, a little bit of concern rather than somewhere like the United States, but then after doing the research and him putting it all together, it made total sense. And after being here now, to be honest, it's very impressive in what they're doing. It's state of the art of technology and medical science.
From what I've been told, they see myself as an ideal candidate. I'm under 30, just very fit, mentally very positive and very strong. My level of injury is quite low in comparison to other sort of candidates who've received the treatment and seen very good success, and no pre-existing medical conditions before my accident. So having known that before the discussion today, but to have that sort of clarified and confirmed, and to see possibly how excited the medical staff are here for me to do the treatment, obviously makes me very excited and very positive. Amazing, absolutely amazing, so helpful, extremely friendly. If anything, I think they're a bit surprised I'm not asking for more. I quite quickly became quite independent, so I like to do things for myself. So I think they maybe is expecting me to want their help a little bit more, but I think maybe it's just the nature of the beast. I like to sort of do a lot of things for myself, but they couldn't be more friendly, couldn't be more helpful. Very, very, very happy.
When we obviously departed from Newcastle, initially we didn't know what to expect. There was some element of doubt of people saying you're probably going to get there and no one will be there to pick you up, as you can imagine. I think it was more in a kind of a humour sense. But when we arrived in the airport, it couldn't have been any more different from the truth. When we arrived, we were met with a sign saying "Welcome, Andrew." There was about over 6 people there, and it was literally the highest level of service you could ever imagine. A lot higher than the UK, if I'm honest. When we arrived, they had a special vehicle which the chair actually was come out of the car to allow Andrew to transfer to it, and then on the way to the hospital we were introduced, gone through a full itinerary, exactly what Andrew should be expecting. On his arrival, he was introduced to everyone, bottles of water for myself, bottles of water for him. They took us straight for lunch. Very, very high end, very professional. It was a great experience, to be honest. A great first impression.
Initially contacted a representative at Global Stem Cells who put me in contact with Hannah, and since then Hannah has coordinated with myself in terms of asking about medical records and sort of details of the treatment. As a family, naturally we did have sort of a lot of questions for health and safety perspective, also sort of logistics, flight details, arranged sort of transfers, gave a lot of sort of background details to the treatment in terms of where the stem cells originate, how the stem cell injections will be carried out, and sort of alleviated a lot of concerns and worries for both family and sort of myself. So gave us a lot of sort of hope as well, I guess. Again, due to my accident being quite recent, they've deemed that the scar tissue in my back again would be a benefit with regards to the stem cells hopefully working and getting a positive result a little bit quicker perhaps than someone who's had their accident maybe 2 to 3 years ago. So my coordination with Hannah has been sort of very positive, very thorough, and sort of again comprehensive in terms of what the procedure will be, which is sort of separate to the hospital treatment or the sort of stimulator treatment that I'll also receive.
Was very sceptical, but after doing further research and following the videos of the other patients that have undertook it, Connor's was a great opinion of your verdict for me to see what to expect, and I think he had great results. And then moving forward and seeing one of the recent patients called Simon, really then put the idea in your head that this could really work, and that it would be definitely worth moving forward with. So after looking at both those options and doing further research into places around the world and the companies that were undertaking it, I was rest assured that not only did he have my full support, and that I truly believe that Andrew will see great results from this, and he hasn't gone into it, and none of the family have gone into it. I mean, from a kind of just a whim. It's more been logically thought out, shall we say.
Message for people watching back home was to say thank you so much for all your support. As always, since day one, it's been absolutely incredible. People ask why and how am I so positive? Well, that's one of the big factors, to be honest. The amount of support and love I've had from family and friends and loved ones has been incredible. So yeah, it's to say a big thank you, and hopefully I'll be able to repay that love and support by sending back some very positive results over the next 6 weeks, and then big celebrations over Christmas when I get home.